After the Winter by Claude McKay. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Some day when trees have shed their leaves, and against the morning's white the shivering birds beneath the eaves have sheltered for the night, we'll turn our faces southward, love, toward the summer isle, where bamboos spire the shafted grove and wide-mouthed orchids smile, and we will seek the quiet hill where towers the cotton tree, and leaps the laughing crystal rill, and works the droning bee, and we will build a lonely nest beside an open glade, and there forever will we rest, O love, O nut-brown maid. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ammiel's Gift by Jane Blewett. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The city girded by the mountains strong still held the gold of the sunset on its breast, when Ammiel, whose steps had journeyed long, stood at the gate with weariness oppressed. One came and stood beside him, called him son, asked him the reason of his heavy air, and why it was that now the day was done he entered not into the city fair. Answered he, Master, I did come to find a man called Jesus. It is said he steals the darkness from the eyeballs of the blind, the fever from the veins, aye, even heals that wasting thing called sickness of the heart. His voice, they say, doth make the lame to leap, the evil tearing spirits to depart. From Nain there comes a tale doth make me weep, of one a widow walking by the bier of her dead son, and walking there alone, and murmuring so that all who chose might hear, A widow, and he was my only one. This Jesus meeting her did not pass by, but stopped beside the mourner for a space. A wondrous light, they say, shone in his eye, a wondrous tenderness upon his face. And he did speak unto the dead, Young man, I say, arise. These tears of mine will start. The youth arose, straight to his mother ran, who wept for joy and clasped him to her heart. Within me, master, such a longing grew to look on him, perchance to speak his name. I started while the world was wet with dew. A gift for him I have been to blame, for when a beggar held a lean hand out for aid, I laid in it, being moved, a godly share of this same gift. And then a little maid lisped she was hungry, in her eyes a prayer. I gave her all the fruit I plucked for him. His oil I gave to one who moaned with pain, his jar of wine to one whose sight waxed dim. Oh, master, I have journeyed here in vain. Within the city Jesus walks the street, or abides with friends, or in the temple stands. But shamed am I the Nazarene to meet, seeing I bring to him but empty hands. The sun had long since sunk behind the hills. The purple glory and the gleams of light had faded from the sky. The dusk that stills a busy world was deepening into night. Son, look on me. The sweetness of the tone made Ammiel's heart begin to thrill and glow. Full well, he said, I know there is but one with simple words like these could move me so. Son, look on me. And lifting up his eyes, he looked on Jesu's face, and knew 'twas he, knelt down and kissed his feet, and would not rise because of love and deep humility. Up in the deep blue of the skies above were kindled all the watchfires of the night. The voice of Jesus, deep and filled with love, said, Come, bide with me till the morning's light. At dawn my beggar asked not alms in vain. Since dawn I have been debtor unto thee. All day thy gifts within my heart have lain. Fruit, oil, and wine come through my poor to me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. At the Pond by Ammiel Poulsen. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. A pretty pond there is, all fringed with trees and flowers gay, where many happy creatures live, and many come to play. The fishes frolic merrily within its waters cool, and funny little pollywogs live in the shining pool. Along the grassy bank the snails and turtles slowly creep, the frogs go splashing in and out with many a sudden leap. The insects and the merry birds its shining surface skim, and thirsty cows and horses drink along its rippling brim. The water lilies' fragrant cups upon the wavelets lie, and near them float the stately swans with proud necks curving high. And see, here comes the mother duck with all her yellow brood, and here are all the goslings too, behind their mother good. They hurry, scurry down the bank, and in the water go. They dive and splash, and with delight go swimming to and fro. And when the children call to them and throw them bits of bread, geese, ducks, and swans all fearless come and crowd near to be fed. Oh yes, the pond's a merry place, so busy and so gay, where many happy creatures live, and many come to play. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Chimes by Alice Meadow, read for LibriVox.org by Helen Ferrara for Jean. Brief on a flying night from the shaken tower, a flock of bells take flight and go with the hour. Like birds from the coast to the gales, abrupt, oh hark, a fleet of bells set sails and go to the dark. Sudden the cold airs swing, alone, aloud, a verse of bells takes wing and flies with the cloud. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Daniel Come to Judgment by Edmund Vance Cook. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Grothmann. Now, everything that Russell did, he did his best to hasten, and one day he decided that he'd like to be a mason. But nothing else would suit him, and nothing less would please, but he must take, and all at once, the 33 degrees. So he rode the, that is, he crossed the, I can't tell. You either must not know at all, or else know very well. He dived in, well, never mind. It only need be said that somewhere in the last degree poor Russell dropped down dead. They arrested all the masons, and they stayed in durance vile, till the jury found them guilty, when the judge said with a smile, I'm forced to let the prisoners go, for I can find, said he, no penalty for murder in the 33rd degree. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
8 Sonnets by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by Kevin S. When you, that at this moment are to me dearer than words on paper, shall depart, and be no more the warder of my heart, whereof again myself shall hold the key, and be no more what now you seem to be, the sun from which all excellencies start in a round nimbus, nor a broken dart of moonlight even, splintered on the sea. Shall remember only of this hour, and weep somewhat, as now you see me weep, the pathos of your love, that, like a flower, fearful of death, yet amorous of sleep, droops for a moment, and beholds, dismayed, the wind whereon its petals shall be laid. What's this of death from you who never will die? Think you the wrist that fashioned you in clay, the thumb that set the hollow just that way in your full throat, and lit it the long eye so roundly from the forehead, will let lie broken, forgotten underfoot some day, your unimpeachable body, and so slay the work he most had been remembered by? I tell you this, whatever of dust to dust goes down, whatever of ashes may return to its essential self in its own season. Loveliness such as yours will not be lost, but cast in bronze upon his very urn. Make known him master, and for what good reason? I know I am but summer to your heart, and not the full 4 seasons of the year, and you must welcome from another part such noble moods as are not mine, my dear. No gracious weight of golden fruits to sell have I, nor any wise and wintry thing, and I have loved you all too long and well to carry still the high sweet breast of spring. Wherefore I say, O love, as summer goes, I must be gone, steal forth with silent drums, that you may hail anew the bird and rose when I come back to you, as summer comes. Else will you seek at some not distant time even your summer in another clime. Here is a wound that never will heal, I know, being wrought not of dearness and a death, but of love turned to ashes, and the breath gone out of beauty. Never again will grow the grass on that scarred acre, though I sow young seed there yearly, and the sky bequeath its friendly weathers down. Far underneath shall be such bitterness of an old woe, that April should be shattered by a gust, that August should be leveled by a rain, I can endure, and that the lifted dust of man should settle to the earth again. But that a dream can die will be a thrust between my ribs forever of hot pain. What lips my lips have kissed, and where and why I've forgotten, and what arms have lain under my head till morning. But the rain is full of ghosts tonight, that tap and sigh upon the glass and listen for reply. And in my heart there stirs a quiet pain for unremembered lads that not again will turn to me at midnight with a cry. Thus in the winter stands the lonely tree, nor knows what birds have vanished one by one, yet knows its boughs more silent than before. I cannot say what loves have come and gone. I only know that summer sang in me a little while, that in me sings no more. Euclid alone has looked on beauty bare. Let all who prate of beauty hold their peace, and lay them prone upon the earth, and cease to ponder on themselves, the while they stare at nothing, intricately drawn nowhere, in shapes of shifting lineage. Let geese gabble and hiss, but heroes seek release from dusty bondage into luminous air. O blinding hour, O holy terrible day, when first the shaft into his vision shone of light anatomized. Euclid alone has looked on beauty bare. Fortunate they who, though once only and then but far away, have heard her massive scandal set on stone. Oh, oh, you will be sorry for that word. Give back my book, and take my kiss instead. Was it my enemy or my friend I heard? What a big book for such a little head. Come, I will show you now my newest hat, and you may watch me purse my mouth and prink. Oh, I shall love you still, and all of that. I never again shall tell you what I think. I shall be sweet and crafty, soft and sly. You will not catch me reading any more. I shall be called a wife to pattern by, and some day when you knock and push the door, some sane day, not too bright and not too stormy, I shall be gone, and you may whistle for me. Say what you will, and scratch my heart to find the roots of last year's roses in my breast. I am as surely riper in my mind as if the fruit stood in the stalls confessed. Laugh at the unshed leaf, say what you will, call me in all things what I was before, a flutter in the wind, a woman still, I tell you I am what I was and more. My branches weigh me down, frost cleans the air, my sky is black with small birds bearing south. Say what you will, confuse me with fine care, but by my word as but an April truth, autumn is no less on me that a rose hugs the brown bough and sighs before it goes. End of poems. These poems are in the public domain.
The Erl-King by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translation by John Greenleaf Whittier. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Who rides so late through the night wind wild? It is a father with his child. He has him well in his circling arm. He holds him safe, he holds him warm. My son, why hidest thou thy face in fear? Seest thou not, father, the Erl-King near? The Erl-King is here with crown and train. My son, 'tis a fog wreath on the plain. My dearest child, come go with me. Many fine games I'll play with thee. Many-hued flowers on the strand unfold, and my mother has many fine robes of gold. My father, dost thou not hear what the Erl-King promises low in my ear? Be quiet, rest quiet, my child, he said. 'Tis the wind that sounds in the leaves so dead. Thou beautiful child, wilt thou go with me? My fair young daughters shall wait on thee. My daughters nightly their sport shall bring, and rock thee softly, and dance and sing. My father, dost thou not trace the Erl-King's daughters in yon drear place? My son, I see it there. 'Tis the shade of the willow, so old and bare. I love thee, thy fair face charms me so. If thou art not willing, by force thou must go. My father, I feel his arm. The Erl-King has done me a grievous harm. The father shudders, he rides on wild. He holds in his arms the moaning child. He reaches his home with trouble and dread, but the child he holds in his arms is dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Fairy Lover by Maureen Fox. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. It was by yonder thorn I saw the fairy host. O low night wind, O wind of the west! My love rode by, there was gold upon his brow, and since that day I can neither eat nor rest. I dare not pray lest I should forget his face. O black north wind, blowing cold beneath the sky! His face and his eyes shine between me and the sun. If I may not be with him, I would rather die. They tell me I am cursed, and I will lose my soul. O red wind shrieking o'er the thorn-grown dune! But he is my love, and I go to him tonight, who rides when the thorn glistens white beneath the moon. He will call my name and lift me to his breast. Blow soft, O wind, 'neath the stars of the south. I care not for heaven, and I fear not hell, if I have but the kisses of his proud red mouth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Fire Soul by George Charles Selden. Read for LibriVox.org by William Mosqueda. I sat by my fire in the night, The darkness grew deeper around me. The last faint gleams of the flickering light faded out of my sight into night, and the spell of every reverie bound me. When sudden I saw in the vanishing light a phantom hovering o'er me. It wavered an instant in its flight, then faded from sight into night, and left but the darkness before me. And yet so swift and sudden its flight, so deep the shadows before me, I knew not whether a beckoning sprite had glimmered white in the night, or only a thought sped o'er me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Gifts by Emma Lazarus, 1849 to 1887. Read for LibriVox.org. O world God, give me wealth, the Egyptian cried. His prayer was granted. High as heaven behold palace and pyramid. The brimming tide of lavish Nile washed all his land with gold. Armies of slaves toiled ant-wise at his feet. World-circling traffic roared through mart and street. His priests were gods. His spice-balmed kings enshrined set death at naught on rock-ribbed charnels deep. Seek Pharaoh's race today, and ye shall find rust and the moth, silence and dusty sleep. O world God, give me beauty, cried the Greek. His prayer was granted. All the earth became plastic and vocal to his sense. Each peak, each grove, each stream, quick with Promethean flame, peopled the world with image, grace, and light. The lyre was his, and his the breathing might of the immortal marble, his the play of diamond-pointed thought and golden tongue. Go, seek the sunshine race. Ye find to-day a broken column and a lute unstrung. O world God, give me power, the Roman cried. His prayer was granted. The vast world was chained a captive to the chariot of his pride. The blood of myriad provinces was drained to feed that fierce, insatiable red heart. Invulnerability bulwarked every part with serried legions and with close-meshed code. Within, the burrowing worm had gnawed its home. A roofless ruin stands where once abode the imperial race of everlasting Rome. O Godhead, give me truth, the Hebrew cried. His prayer was granted. He became a slave of the idea, a pilgrim far and wide, cursed, hated, spurned, and scourged, with none to save. The Pharaohs knew him, and when Greece beheld, his wisdom wore the hoary crown of eld. Beauty he hath forsworn, and wealth and power. Seek him to-day, and find in every land. No fire consumes him, neither floods devour. Immortal through the lamp within his hand. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Gray Skies by Elsa Gidlow. Read for LibriVox.org by Mike Overby, Midland, Washington. I like gray skies, at least they tell the truth. Gray skies, reflective skies, that do not laugh at all, nor weep vain tears, unpromising, unhoping, cold. Gray skies, no fear in them, nor any joy, no tragedy, all gray. I like gray skies. Unweeping, smileless skies, they do not lie. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Improvisations. Number 1. By William Carlos Williams, read for LibriVox.org by Kevin S. Number 1. First. Fools have big wombs. For the rest, here is pennyroyal if one knows how to use it. But time is only another liar, so go along the wall a little further. If blackberries prove bitter, there'll be mushrooms, fairy ring mushrooms, in the grass, sweetest of all fungi. Second, for what it's worth, Jacob Lewislinger, white-haired, stinking, dirty-bearded, cross-eyed, stammer-tongued, broken-voiced, bent-backed, bald-kneed, cave-bellied, mucus-faced, deathling, found lying in the weeds, up there by the cemetery. Looks to me as if he'd been bumming around the meadows for a couple of weeks. Shoes twisted into incredible lilies, out at the toes, heels, tops, sides, soles. Meadow flower, mallow, at last I have you. Rot dead marigolds, an acre at a time. Gold, are you? Clouds will touch the world's edge, and the great pink mallow stands singing in the wet, topping reeds, and a closet full of clothes and good shoes, and my 30 years' master's daughters, 2 cows for me to care for, and a winter room with a fire in it. I would rather feed pigs in Moonachie and chew calamus root and break crab claws at an open fire. Aegis lust loose. Third, talk as you will, say, no woman wants to bother with children in this country. Speak of your Amsterdam and the widest aprons and brightest doorknobs in Christendom, and I'll answer you, gleaming doorknobs and scrubbed entries have heard the songs of the housemaids at sunup, and housemaids are wishes. Whose? The dark canals are whistling for who will cross to the other side. If I remain with hands in pocket leaning upon my lamp-post, why, I bring curses to a hag's lips, and her daughter on her arm knows better than I can tell you. Best to blush and out with it than back-beaten after. In Holland at daybreak of a fine spring morning, one sees the housemaids beating rugs before the small houses of such a city as Amsterdam, sweeping, scrubbing the low entry steps, and polishing doorbells and doorknobs. By night, perhaps, there will be an old woman with a girl on her arm, hissing and whistling across a deserted canal to some late loiterer trudging aimlessly on beneath the gas lamps. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Absence by Maureen Fox. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. O thorn tree, shake thy blossoms upon the wind, cover with leaves thy deep snow-laden boughs, that swiftly may sweet crimson berries ripen. My love has sworn when leaves and blossoms are faded, and thy bare branches are held blood red to the skies, he will kiss grief and longing away from my heart. The silver wings of the sea-birds flash and go, the sea trembles, unveiling itself to the day. Why comest thou not? Why must I wait for thee? Is love so gentle to thee that thou sleepest unwaking? Is thy breath unhastened, thy brow dry and untortured? Dost thou rather seek the me in dreams than here on my breast? The beating of my heart has night long shaken my body. So great an anguish is my longing that sight fails. My limbs shudder with the bitterness of my desire. If thou hastenest not, death were easier to me than this. Perchance I am truly dead at last, beloved, and my body is lying still in some quiet place, and thou art weeping for me. But I am one of the driven, tormented dead whom the cold darkness sunders forever from rest, and this that consumes my heart is the pain of hell. I remember thee, O beloved, as one dead remembers the living. Faintly the sound of thy voice and thy laughter lingers about me, yet ever thy face is a star burning unquenched through my darkness. Too far I have left thee behind me to know if love be forgotten. For weeping and laughter and love have mingled their voices and ceased. Only I hear the sound of great seas long since overpast me. Lo, I would sleep, beloved, lulled by uttermost silence. Sleep with even thy face covered away and forgotten, lost in a sleep unbroken by dreams or love or awakening. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In the Spring Fields by William Wilfred Campbell. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. There dwells a spirit in the budding year, as motherhood doth beautify the face, that even lends these barren glebes a grace, and fills grey hours with beauty that were drear, and bleak when the loud storming March was here. A glamour that the thrilled heart dimly traces in swelling boughs and soft, wet, windy spaces, and sunlands where the chattering birds make cheer. I thread the uplands where the wind's footfalls stir leaves in gusty hollows, autumn's urns. Seaward the river's shining breast expands. High in the windy pines a lone crow calls, and far below some patient ploughman turns his great black furrow over steaming lands. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Invictus by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Cammie Vavich. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds, and shall find me, unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Invocation by Victor Hugo, 5 and 6 August 1832. Translated by G.W.M. Reynolds. Read for LibriVox.org. Say, Lord, for thou alone canst tell where lurks the good invisible amid the depths of discord sea, that seem, alas, so dark to me. Oppressive to a mighty state, contentions, feuds, the people's hate. But who dare question that which fate has ordered to have been? Haply the earthquake may unfold the resting place of purest gold, and haply surges up have rolled the pearls that were unseen. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Kaddish by W.W. Read for LibriVox.org. According to his righteous will, be magnified and hallowed still throughout the world his glorious name, the world which at his summons came. And let him suddenly and soon, in glory, like the sun at noon, on earth establish to his praise his kingdom in our lives and days, and in the lives of all the race of Israel, and fulfill his grace. O house of Israel, fear the Lord, and say Amen with one accord. Amen. His glorious name be blessed forevermore through east and west. Still blessed, praised, with glory crowned, exalted, magnified around, revered, extolled, and lauded be his holy name, for blessed is he 'bove blessings all, or hymns sublime, or praises in the tense of time, or blessednesses said or sung by mortal or immortal tongue. O house of Israel, fear the Lord, and say Amen with one accord. Let all the race of Israel's prayers and supplications in their cares be grateful in their Father's sight, who's high in heaven enthroned in light. O house of Israel, fear the Lord, and say Amen with one accord. Let peace and joy and bliss from heaven from day to day be freely given, with life to us and ours in store, and each of Israel evermore. O house of Israel, fear the Lord, and say Amen with one accord. Let him whose blessings never cease, who through his lofty heavens makes peace, make ever peace with us to dwell, and all the race of Israel. O house of Israel, fear the Lord, and say Amen with one accord. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Loneliness by Elsa Gidlow. Read for LibriVox.org by Mike Overby, Midland, Washington. This loneliness encaged in me, that has no curious heart for life, no ribald blood, no treacherous flesh, no golden wickedness of song. This loneliness that preys in me, is it not somewhat like a nun? See the clasped hands, the secret eyes, the lips pressed close for fear of love. What if I make her drunk one day, with wine or some unholy need, then leave the cell door open wide? Think you she might be tempted out? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love by Maureen Fox. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. Whence hast thou come? I have heard the night speak through thee. I have heard the winds cry out at thy coming. I have known the silent earth draw near with thee. Thou hast brought close to me the terror of the skies. Thou hast brought the fragrance of the white thorn blossom, and the cold, strange darkness of the sea. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
May Wind by Sarah Teasdale. Read for LibriVox.org by Kevin S. I said, I have shut my heart as one shuts an open door, that love may starve therein, and trouble me no more. But over the roofs there came the wet new wind of May, and a tune blew up from the curb where the street pianos play. My room was white with the sun, and love cried out in me, I'm strong, I will break your heart unless you set me free. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Midnight at Meyringen by George Bancroft. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. Midnight at Meyringen. Is there no slumber for the hearts that mourn? Vainly I long my weary eyes to close. Sleep does but mock me with unfeeling scorn, and only to the careless sends repose. Nor night nor silence lends my bosom rest. My visionary spirit wanders far. With heart and hopes I follow to the west, in its calm motion Hesper's flaming star. Ah, there the fates spin sorrow's blackest thread, and restless weave misfortune's broadest woof. There destiny with threatening wings outspread broods in still darkness o'er my home's dear roof. I dread his power, and still my heart must sigh in anguish. Down the midnight stars are gone, the moon has set, the hours are hurrying by, and I am wakeful, sorrowing and alone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
My Friend, the Things That Do Attain by Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey. Read for LibriVox.org by Adam Gibbons. May 8th, 2019 in Boulder, Colorado. My friend, the things that do attain the happy life be these, I find. The riches left, not got with pain, the fruitful ground, the quiet mind. The equal friend, no grudge, no strife, no charge of rule nor governance, without disease, the healthy life, the household of continuance, the mean diet, no dainty fare, wisdom joined with simpleness, the night discharged of all care, where wine the wit may not oppress, the faithful wife, without debate, such sleeps as may beguile the night. Content thyself with thine estate, neither wish death, nor fear his might. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
New Heaven, New War by Robert Southwell. Read for LibriVox.org by Matt Bishop. Come to your heaven, you heavenly choirs. Earth hath the heaven of your desires. Remove your dwelling to your God. A stall is now his best abode. Sith men their homage do deny. Come, angels, all their fault supply. His chilling cold doth heat require. Come, seraphims, in lieu of fire. This little ark no cover hath. Let cherubs' wings his body swath. Come, Raphael, this babe must eat. Provide our little Toby meat. Let Gabriel be now his groom, that first took up his earthly room. Let Michael stand in his defence, whom love hath linked to feeble sense. Let graces rock when he doth cry. Let angels sing his lullaby. The same you saw in heavenly seat is he that now sucks Mary's teat. Agonize your king, a mortal wight. His borrowed weed lets not your sight. Come, kiss the manger where he lies. That is your bliss above the skies. This little babe, so few days old, is come to rifle Satan's fold. All hell doth at his presence quake, though he himself for cold do not shake. For in this weak, unarmed wise, the gates of hell he will surprise. With tears he fights and wins the field. His naked breast stands for a shield. His battering shot are babish cries. His arrows made of weeping eyes. His martial ensigns cold and need, and feeble flesh his warrior's steed. His camp is pitched in a stall, his bulwark but a broken wall. The crib his trench, hay stalks his stakes. Of shepherd he his muster makes, and thus as sure his foe to wound, the angels' trumps alarum sound. My soul with Christ join thou in fight. Stick to the tents that he hath died. Within his crib is surest ward. This little babe will be thy guard. If thou wilt foil thy foes with joy, then flit not from the heavenly boy. New heaven, new war. End of poem. This has been a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain.
Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Nature's first green is gold. Her heart is too to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief, so dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
O Gather Me the Rose by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Cammie Vavich. O gather me the rose while yet in flower we find it. For summer smiles, but summer goes, and winter waits behind it. For with the dream forgone the deed forborne forever, the worm regret will canker on, and time will turn him never. So were it well to love, my love, and cheat of any laughter the fate beneath us and above, the dark before and after. The myrtle and the rose, the sunshine and the swallow, the dream that comes, the wish that goes, the memories that follow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Oily Weather by Ernest Hemingway. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. The sea desires deep hulls. It swells and rolls. The screw churns a throb, driving, throbbing, progressing. The sea rolls with love, surging, caressing, undulating its great loving belly. The sea is big and old, throbbing ships scorn it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
On Punning by Theodore Hook. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Grothmann. My little dears who learn to read, pray early learn to shun that very silly thing indeed, which people call a pun. Read Entick's rules, and 'twill be found how simple an offense it is to make the self-same sound afford a double sense. For instance, ale may make you ail, your aunt an ant may kill, you in a vale may buy a veil, and Bill may pay the bill. Or if to France your bark may steer, at Dover it may be, a peer appears upon a pier, who blind still goes to sea. Thus one might say, when to treat good friends accept our greeting, 'tis meet that men who meet to eat should eat their meat when meeting. Brawn on the board's no bore indeed, although from boar prepared. Nor can the fowl on which we feed foul feeding, he declared. Thus one ripe fruit may be a pear, and yet be pared again, and still no one, which seemeth rare until we do explain. It therefore should be all your aim to spell with ample care, for who, however fond the game, should choose to swallow hare? A fat man's gait may make us smile, who has no gate to close. A farmer sitting on his stile no stylish person knows. Perfumers men of sense must be, some silly men are bright. A brown man oft deep red we see, a black, a wicked white. Most wealthy men good manners have, however vulgar they. So poets can't the bays obtain until their tailors choose, while grooms and coachmen, not in vain, each evening seek the muse. The dyer who by dyeing lives, a dire life maintains. The glazier, it is known, receives his profit from his pains. By gardeners time is tied, 'tis true, when spring is in its prime. But time and tide won't wait for you, if you are tied for time. Thus now you see, my little dears, the way to make a pun, a trick which you through coming years should sedulously shun. The fault admits of no defense, for wheresoever 'tis found, you sacrifice the sound for sense, the sense is never sound. So let your words and actions too one single meaning prove, and just in all you say or do, you'll gain esteem and love. In mirth and play no harm you'll know when duty's task is done. But parents ne'er should let ye go unpunished for a pun. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Owl by Edward Thomas, read for LibriVox.org by rumpledpoetry. Downhill I came, hungry and yet not starved, cold, yet had heat within me that was proof against the north wind, tired, yet so that sleep had seemed the sweetest thing under a roof. Then at the inn I had food, fire, and rest, knowing how hungry, cold, and tired was I. All of the night was quite barred out, except an owl's cry, a most melancholy cry shaken out long and clear upon the hill. No merry note nor cause of merriment, but one telling me plain what I escaped and others could not that night, as in I went. And salted was my food, and my repose, salted and sobered too by the bird's voice, speaking for all who lay under the stars, soldiers and poor, unable to rejoice. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Petrified Fern by Mary L. Bowles Branch. Read for LibriVox.org by Josh Kibbe. In a valley, centuries ago, grew a little fern leaf, green and slender, veining delicate and fibers tender, waving when the wind crept down so low. Rushes tall and moss and grass grew round it, playful sunbeams darted in and found it, drops of dew stolen by night and crowned it. But no foot of man e'er trod that way, earth was young and keeping holiday. Monster fishes swam the silent main, stately forests waved their giant branches, mountains hurled their snowy avalanches, mammoth creatures stalked across the plain. Nature revelled in grand mysteries, but the little fern was not of these, did not number with the hills and trees, only grew and waved its wild sweet way. No one came to note it day by day. Earth, one time, put on a frolic mood, heaved the rocks and changed the mighty motion of the deep strong currents of the ocean, moved the plain and shook the haughty wood, crushed the little fern in soft moist clay, covered it and hid it safe away. Oh, the long, long centuries since that day! Oh, the changes, oh, life's bitter cost, since that useless little fern was lost. Useless? Lost? There came a thoughtful man, searching nature's secrets far and deep. From a fissure in a rocky steep, he withdrew a stone, o'er which there ran fairy pencilings, a quaint design, veinings, leafage, fibers clear and fine, and the fern's life lay in every line. So I think God hides some souls away, sweetly to surprise us the last day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rainy Day by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Read for LibriVox.org by William Mosqueda. The day is cold and dark and dreary. It rains and the wind is never weary. The vine still clings to the moldering wall, but at every gust the dead leaves fall, and the day is dark and dreary. My life is cold and dark and dreary. It rains and the wind is never weary. My thoughts still cling to the moldering past, but the hopes of youth fall thick in the blast, and the days are dark and dreary. Be still, sad heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Resurrection by Benjamin Copeland. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. Relentless as the counsel is the cross. The Nazarene is bruised and torn. Mourn, ye despised disciples, mourn. Priest, scribe, and elder, triumph in your loss. The watch is set, the sepulchre is sure. Death and the grave in Rome unite, triumvirate of matchless might, to make sin's vaunted victory secure. Secure? With sudden awe the aged earth feels him alive within the tomb. And lo, emerging from the gloom, the brightest morning since creation's birth, the nations see the dayspring from on high, and greet the mighty miracle with songs that shake the gates of hell and animate the anthems of the sky. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet on the Death of the Lady Cicely Weems, Lady of Tilbarn, by David Murray. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. Sonnet on the Death of the Lady Cicely Weems, Lady of Tilbarn. Fair Cicely's loss, be thou my sable song, not that for which proud Rome and Carthage strave, but thine more famous, whom ago not long untimely death entombed so soon in grave. Dear sacred lady, let thy ghost receive these dying accents of my mourning quill, the sweetest smelling incense that I have with sighs and tears upon thy hearse to spill. To thee, dear saint, I consecrate aye still these sad oblations of my mirthless mind, who, while thou breathed, with wandering world did fill with thy perfections, phoenix of thy kind, from out whose ashes hence I prophesy shall never such another phoenix fly. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet IV, The Voice of the Mountains, by John Wilson. Read for LibriVox.org by Delana. List, while I tell what forms the mountain's voice. The storms are up, and from you sable cloud down rush the rains, while mid the thunder loud the viewless eagles and wild screams rejoice. The echoes answer to the unearthly noise of hurling rocks that, plunged into the lake, send up a sullen groan from clefts and caves, as of half-murdered wretch. Hark, yells awake, or red-eyed frenzy, as in chains he raves. These form the mountain's voice, these, heard at night, distant from human beings' known abode, to earth some spirits bow in cold affright, but some they lift to glory and to God. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sonnet V, The Evening Cloud, by John Wilson. Read for LibriVox.org by Delana. A cloud lay cradled near the setting sun. A gleam of crimson tinged its braided snow. Long had I watched the glory moving on o'er the still radiance of the lake below. Tranquil its spirit seemed, and floated slow. Even in its very motion there was rest, while every breath of eve that chanced to blow wafted the traveler to the beauteous west. emblem, methought, of the departed soul, to whose white robe the gleam of bliss is given, and by the breath of mercy made to roll right onwards to the golden gates of heaven, where, to the eye of faith, it peaceful lies, and tells to man his glorious destinies. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sonnet VI, written on the Sabbath day, by John Wilson, read for LibriVox.org, by Delana. When by God's inward light, a happy child, I walked in joy as in the open air, it seemed to my young thought the Sabbath smiled, with glory and with love, so still, so fair. The heavens looked ever on that hallowed morn, that, without aid of memory, something there had surely told me of its glad return. How did my little heart at evening burn, when, fondly seated on my Father's knee, taught by the lip of love, I breathed the prayer, warm from the font of infant piety. Much has my spirit changed, for years have brought intenser feeling and expanded thought, yet must I envy every child I see. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Spell of the Yukon by Robert W. Service. Read for LibriVox.org by William Mosqueda. I wanted the gold and I sought it. I scrabbled and mucked like a slave. Was it famine or scurvy? I fought it. I hurled my youth into a grave. I wanted the gold and I got it. Came out with a fortune last fall. Yet somehow life's not what I thought it. And somehow the gold isn't all. No, there's the land. Have you seen it? It's the custest land that I know. From the big, dizzy mountains that screen it to the deep, death-like valleys below. Some say God was tired when he made it. Some say it's a fine land to shun. Maybe, but there's some as would trade it for no land on earth, and I am one. You come to get rich, damn good reason. You feel like an exile at first. You hate it like hell for a season, and then you are worse than the worst. It grips you like some kinds of sinning. It twists you from foe to a friend. It seems it's been since the beginning. It seems it will be to the end. I've stood in some mighty-mouthed hollow that's plumb full of hush to the brim. I've watched the big husky sun wallow in crimson and gold and grow dim, till the moon set the pearly peaks gleaming, and the stars tumbled out, neck and crop, and I've thought that I surely was dreaming, with the peace o' the world piled on top. The summer no sweeter was ever, the sunshiny woods all a-thrill, the grayling a-leap in the river, the bighorn asleep on the hill. The strong life that never knows harness, the wilds where the caribou call, the freshness, the freedom, the fairness. Oh God, how I'm stuck on it all. The winter, the brightness that blinds you, the white land locked tight as a drum, the cold fear that follows and finds you, the silence that bludgeons you dumb, the snows that are older than history, the woods where the weird shadows slant, the stillness, the moonlight, the mystery. I've bade 'em goodbye, but I can't. There's a land where the mountains are nameless, and the rivers all run God knows where. There are lives that are erring and aimless, and deaths that just hang by a hair. There are hardships that nobody reckons. There are valleys unpeopled, and still there's a land. Oh, it beckons and beckons, and I want to go back, and I will. They're making my money diminish. I'm sick of the taste of champagne. Thank God when I am skinned to a finish, I'll pike to the Yukon again. I'll fight. And you bet it's no shame fight. It's hell, but I've been there before. And it's better than this by a damn sight. So me for the Yukon once more. There's gold, and it's haunting and haunting. It's luring me on as of old. Yet it isn't the gold that I'm wanting, so much as just finding the gold. It's the great big broad land way up yonder. It's the forests where silence has lease. It's the beauty that thrills me with wonder. It's the stillness that fills me with peace. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Thought by Elsa Gidlow. Read for LibriVox.org by Mike Overby, Midland, Washington. There are more songs in the far corners of my soul than I shall ever be able to sing. I shall go away long before they are all expressed, and they will wait for another life, for more suffering, to give them birth, another life, and many more tears, and love, to make them open their eyes to the light. It will take many lives to express all the songs I hear singing to themselves day and night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Begin With by Joseph Smith Fletcher. Read for LibriVox.org by Stefan. This my creed remains. Wherever I may be, whatever doing, life's a time for glad endeavor, constant effort, all pursuing purposeful attempts to be with nature in true harmony. Little patience can I show him who, with pessimistic notion, looks on everything below him with a face as long as ocean. Life is neither sad nor bad, if the heart be true and glad. Look around you at the springing of the flowers in wood and meadow. There is a sight that's worth the singing. Hence, good friend, with sigh and shadow, you today should be as gay as these first sweet buds of May. Life, my friend, is what we make it. If you're full of gloom and sadness, anxious, maybe, to forsake it, 'tis, I think, a sort of madness that could soon be put to flight by the springtime's fairy light. Hence, with foolish, hopeless notions as to life's being filled with crosses, joys as wide as widest oceans make up for our narrow losses. Shall I sit and weep today for the rain that's passed away? This my creed is, then, forever. Spite of all the ills we're heir to, joy must crown the strong endeavor, and the toils that lead us thereto. And this notion, wrong or right, makes the world a place of light. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Upon the Image of Death by Robert Southwell. Read for LibriVox.org by Matt Bishop. Before my face this picture hangs, that daily should put me in mind of those cold names and bitter pangs, that shortly I am like to find. But yet, alas, full little do I think hereon I must die. I often look upon a face most ugly, grisly, bare, and thin. I often view the hollow place where eyes and nose had sometimes been. I see the bones across that lie, yet little think that I must die. I read the label underneath, and telleth me whereto I must. I see the sentence eke that saith, Remember, man, that thou art dust. But yet, alas, but seldom I do think indeed that I must die. Continually at my bed's head a hearse doth hang, which doth me tell, and ere a morning may be dead, though now I feel myself full well. But yet, alas, for all this I have little mind that I must die. The gown which I do use to wear, the knife wherewith I cut my meat, and eke that old and ancient chair, which is my only usual seat, all those do tell me I must die, and yet my life amend not I. Not Solomon for all his wit, nor Samson, though he were so strong. No king, nor person ever yet could scape, but death laid him along. Wherefore I know that I must die, and yet my life amend not I. Though all the east did quake to hear of Alexander's dreadful name, and all the west did likewise fear to hear of Julius Caesar's fame, yet both by death and dust now lie. Who then can scape but he must die? If none can scape death's dreadful dart, if rich and poor his beck obey, if strong, if wise, if all do smart, then I too scape shall have no way. O grant me grace, O God, that I my life may mend, sith I must die. Robert Southwell. End of poem. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.
The Vales of Devonia by Edward Capern. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. The Vales of Devonia, what landscapes are seen, so fertile in beauty, so golden and green! There crowfoot and plover allure the wild bee to gather sweet honey for Janie and me. Thy hills, O Devonia, thy meadows and streams, they haunt me forever in visions and dreams. The birds in thy woodlands, their music is rare. Thy kine are most famous, and balmy thy air. My dear old Devonia, what daughters are thine! As fresh as the morning, as sweet as the vine, the joy of each dwelling, in castle or cot. There's little like heaven, where woman is not. Thy sons, O Devonia, have honored thy name. Their deeds are thy poems, their glory thy fame. And spite of the shadows that darkened the sky, the sun of thy triumph is shining on high. O Queen of bright rivers, in beautiful May, on fancy's swift pinions I hasten away, to muse where thy waters roll down to the sea, fair Ex of Devonia, and wonder with thee. Sweet Vales of Devonia, there's one thing I crave. Ye gave me a birthplace, oh give me a grave. Let it be where the sunshine can warm my last home, and a knot of your daisies blow over my tomb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Vision by John Charles McNeill. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. The wintry sun was pale on hill and hedge. The wind smote with its flail the seeded sedge. High up above the world, new taught to fly, the withered leaves were hurled about the sky. And there, through death and dearth, it went and came, the glory of the earth that hath no name. I know not what it is, I only know it quivers in the bliss where roses blow, that on the winter's breath it broods in space, and o'er the face of death I see its face, and start and stand between delight and dole, as though mine eyes had seen a living soul. And I have followed it, as thou hast done, where April shadows flit beneath the sun, in dawn and dusk and star, in joy and fear, have seen its glory far, and felt it near, and dared recall his name, who stood unshod before a fireless flame, and called it God.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Volunteer by Herbert Asquith. Read for LibriVox.org by Josh Kibbe. Here lies a clerk who half his life had spent toiling at ledgers in a city grey, thinking that so his days would drift away with no lance broken in life's tournament. Yet ever twixt the books and his bright eyes the gleaming eagles of the legions came, and horsemen charging under phantom skies went thundering past beneath the oriflamme. And now those waiting dreams are satisfied. From twilight to the halls of dawn he went. His lance is broken, but he lies content with that high hour in which he lived and died. And falling thus, he wants no recompense, who found his battle in the last resort, nor needs he any hearse to bear him hence, who goes to join the men of Agincourt. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Wanderer by Eugene Field. Read for LibriVox.org by Josh Kibbe. Upon a mountain height, far from the sea, I found a shell, and to my listening ear this lonely thing ever a song of ocean seemed to sing, ever a tale of ocean seemed to tell. How came the shell upon the mountain height? Ha ha! Who can say? Whether they're dropped by some too careless hand, whether they're cast when oceans swept the land, ere the Eternal had ordained the day. Strange, was it not? Far from its native deep, one song it sang, sang of the awful mysteries of the tide, sang of the restless sea, profound and wide, ever with echoes of the ocean rang. And as the shell upon the mountain height sang of the sea, so do I ever, leagues and leagues away, so do I ever, wandering where I may, sing, O my home, sing, O my home, of thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
What Is to Come by William Ernest Henley. Read for LibriVox.org by Cammie Vavich. What is to come we know not, but we know that what has been was good to show, better to hide, and best of all to bear. We are the masters of the days that were. We have lived, we have loved, we have suffered. Even so. Shall we not take the ebb who had the flow? Life was our friend. Now, if it be our foe, dear though it spoil and break us, need we care what is to come? Let the great winds their worst and wildest blow, or the gold weather round us mellow slow. We have fulfilled ourselves, and we can dare, and we can conquer, though we may not share in the rich quiet of the afterglow, what is to come. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
When the Syrup's on the Flapjack by Bert Leeston Taylor. Read for LibriVox.org by Dale Grothmann. When the syrup's on the flapjack, and the coffee's in the pot, when the fly is in the butter, where he'd rather be than not, when the cloth is on the table and the plates are on the cloth, when the salt is in the shaker and the chicken's in the broth, when the cream is in the pitcher and the pitcher's on the tray, and the tray is on the sideboard when it isn't on the way, when the rind is on the bacon and likewise upon the cheese, then I somehow feel inspired to do a lot of rhymes like these. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Wilderness by Selig Osborne. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. The Wilderness. There is a wilderness more dark than groves of fir on Huron's shore, and in that cheerless region, hark, how serpents hiss, how monsters roar. 'Tis not among the untrodden isles of vast Superior's stormy lake, where social comfort never smiles, nor sunbeams pierce the tangled brake. Nor is it in the deepest shade of India's tiger-haunted wood, nor western forests, unsurveyed, where crouching panthers lurk for blood. 'Tis in the dark, uncultured soul, by education unrefined, where hissing malice, vices foul, and all the hateful passions prowl, the frightful wilderness of mind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Witch-Maid by Dorothea McKellar. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. I wandered in the woodland a morning in the spring. I found a glade I had not known, and saw an evil thing. I heard a wood-dove calling, as one that loves and grieves. The sun was shining silver on the small bright leaves. Oh, it was very beautiful, the glade that I had found. I peeped between the slender stems, and there upon the ground a man was lying dead, and from the spear wound in his side the sluggish blood had ceased to flow, and yet had hardly dried. Oh, the shining of the leaves, the morning of the year! Oh, how could any die to-day, with life so young and dear? My feet were tied with horror, I could not turn to run. A light breeze tossed the branches, the shadow and the sun across the dead face shifted. It seemed to change and twitch, when from the trees beyond me stepped a white young witch. I prayed that I was hidden. She never turned her head, but picked her footsteps daintily and stooped beside the dead. She touched him with her hanging hair and stroked him with her hand, still gazing like a little child that does not understand, for she had strayed from Elfland where death has never come. She knew not why his side was torn, nor why his mouth was dumb. She sat her down beside him, and joined her finger-tips, and smiled a strange and secret smile that curved her thin red lips. She wore a veil of purple about her body sweet, and little silver sandals on her smooth, pale feet. Her black hair hung as straight as rain, and touched the dead man's eyes. He smiled at her in answer, a scornful smile and wise. She played with him a while as might a panther kitten play. Most horrible it was, and yet I could not look away. I needs must watch her motions, her cruel, supple grace, the delicate, swift changes of her sharp-cut face, till suddenly she wearied, and rising from her knees, all in one lovely movement, like a sapling in the breeze, she gazed on him who would not play, with gathering surprise. The man she did not understand, though she was very wise. She drew her veil around her, her whiteness showing through, and gazed, and still unceasingly there came the wood-dove's coo. Oh, the stirring of the spring, the calling of the dove! Why does he lie so cold, when I am here to love? Her long, strange eyes were narrowed to threads of shining green. She touched the broken spear-point, the wound's red lips between. She touched it with her careless foot, and yet he did not stir. Dull fool that lay with open eyes, and would not look at her. She turned away in anger, and raised her arms on high, her straight white arms that questioned the pure, pale sky. The thousand slender tree stems soon hid the way she went, as they who hold a secret, and therewith are content. The dead man smiled in silence. A strange thought in me said, if I had heard her speak at all, then I too should be dead. Her voice, what would her voice be? And then I fled, afraid. The spell was loosed that bound me to the evil glade. Oh, the flowers and the grass, the wood dove in the tree, from magic and from sudden death, good Lord, deliver me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
"12" by Sappho. Translation by Bliss Carman. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. In a dream I spoke with the cypress born, and said to her, Mother of beauty, mother of joy, why hast thou given to men this thing called love, like the ache of a wound in beauty's side, to burn and throb and be quelled for an hour, and never wholly depart? And the daughter of Cyprus said to me, Child of the earth, behold, all things are born and attain, but only as they desire. The thing that is strong, the gods that are wise, the loving heart, deeds and knowledge and beauty and joy, but before all else was desire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.